The year was 1948, and the candidate was Harry S. Truman. He was down in the polls at the time and feeling the heat in more ways than one as Southerners once again rebelled.
And we bid you goodbye.
Delegates from Alabama and Mississippi stormed out of the convention hall in protest after the party adopted a civil rights platform supporting an anti-lynching law, the desegregation of the military, equal opportunity for employment, and the elimination of poll taxes, which prevented poor people from voting.
This was a pivotal moment in the life of the Democratic Party and resulted in the birth of what we consider to be the modern Democratic Party.
The Historical Society of Pennsylvania keeps a collection of memorabilia from the event.
Here's the official program of the Democratic National Convention.
The city of brotherly love played a key role in the 1948 election. Both major parties held their conventions here to maximize television coverage. Philadelphia was at the center of a video cable workers had recently installed between Boston and Richmond, Virginia. Cameras, for the first time, could transmit video of the proceedings to millions of viewers all at once.
It was a major technological event. Imagine the excitement of people back home on their Philco televisions watching history roll out in front of them.
But the magic may have been lost on folks who were actually here. There weren't enough hotel rooms in the city, so many people had to stay up to 50 miles away. Plus, conditions were far from ideal.
In that brief period, Philadelphia was brutally hot.
Temperatures inside the crowded convention hall reportedly topped 100 degrees. The first aid station treated dozens upon dozens of cases of heat exhaustion. But no one felt the heat quite like Harry S. Truman. The former Missouri senator faced serious challenges. He was the sitting president, but not the one voters elected, having taken over after the death of Franklin Roosevelt 3 years earlier.
Harry S. Truman took the momentous oath of office as President of the United States. With the world at war, he accepted the gravest responsibility in world history, a new commander-in-chief to lead our nation to ultimate victory.
The nation had achieved victory, but it appeared millions were ready for a change. A poll showed only about a third of voters approved of the job he was doing, as he accepted his party's nomination.
I can't tell you how very much I appreciate the honor which you just conferred upon me. I shall continue to try to deserve it.
Yet it seemed little was going Truman's way. His running mate, the Kentucky Senator Alben Barkley, wasn't his first choice. After Supreme Court Justice William Douglas turned him down, the Southern delegates had just walked out, and the entire convention was running well behind schedule.
You would have had to stay up very late that night to hear his speech, because it didn't happen until 2 in the morning.
But when it did happen, Truman galvanized supporters with a speech targeting Republicans for failing to act on domestic issues like inflation and civil rights.
Senator Barkley and I will win this election and make these Republicans like it. Don't you forget that.
After the convention, Truman took his message to the people.
At Detroit on his cross-country tours, blazing away.
Traveling 22,000 miles across the country by train, delivering up to 13 speeches a day in what a rival mocked as whistle-stop tours.
We're going to win this crusade for the right.
Meanwhile, down south, delegates who walked out of the Democratic convention formed their own party.
The Southern revolt against President Truman reaches its climax at Birmingham under the states' rights banner.
The so-called Dixiecrats nominated the South Carolina governor Strom Thurmond as their presidential candidate.
There's not enough troops in the army to force the Southern people to break down segregation and admit the Negro race into our theaters, into our swimming pools, into our homes, and into our churches.
As Election Day approached, major polls had the Republican nominee, New York Governor Thomas Dewey, leading by up to 15 points. The Washington Post reported Truman is destined to be an also-ran on Election Day. And indeed, as the Chicago Tribune went to press on election night, the headline declared, "Dewey defeats Truman." But the paper and the polls were wrong. Truman won the popular vote, capturing 28 of the 48 states. Dewey won 16 states, while Strom Thurmond captured 4.
People were looking for stability, and I think that they felt that they would find that in the Truman presidency.
More than 1 million people clustered round the Capitol and the White House to honor our 32nd president, the man from Missouri, who confounded the political experts and punched his way almost single-handed to a memorable victory.
Historians call it one of the greatest political comebacks of all time. And it started right here in Philadelphia, the last time Democrats were here 68 years ago.